gonna win!
You stink. You're gonna win.
Got him!
Gotta love beating up little children, am I right, Chris?
All the time. All the time. I must say, though, Jordan, your video editing skills get better with every opener.
You definitely can't find that clip anywhere else but longer. Definitely didn't take it from another channel. This is the 24th episode of The Countdown, where we do a top 10 of something based around cinema, movies, maybe even television. Hey, we should do a wrestling one sometime. It's just called The Countdown. It doesn't have to be movies. But yeah, today we're talking baseball. Chris, you like baseball?
What's baseball?
It's a sport.
Oh, I've only heard of. Is that like cricket?
Yeah, I think it's the American term for cricket. Cricket's like another country thing, right? Like football and soccer?
Yes. Sure. Like chirp, chirp.
Chirp, chirp, indeed. So yes, this might be an interesting list. I know you said you got some interesting takes. I know I do too. Let's not waste any time. Do you have honorable mentions at number 10?
Do you want me to do my honorable mentions first?
Yeah, go with honorables and then your 10.
All right. So I got. Oh, you want me to do them all together?
Honorables real quick, and then your 10 more in depth, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So, for my 5 honorable mentions, first we have the Disney classic, Angels in the Outfield, as well as not a Yankees fan, but it's the only Yankee-centric movie I have in this list, 61, asterisk. And then coming up next, the only reason it's on here is because I remember this baseball movie as a kid, and because they had to change the script because the Red Sox won. We have Fever Pitch. And then I have finished it off with 2 documentaries, and the first one being Knuckleball, follows R.A. Dickey and Tim Wakefield, as they were 2 of the last good knuckleball throwers. I think there's still a couple left, but Knuckleball, great documentary. And then the greatest documentary of all from baseball, a D-O-C-K, documentary, following Doc Ellis and his no-hitter that he threw on LSD, which leads my favorite baseball fact, that on a scorecard, his name is LSD, because he's Doc Ellis. All right, Jordan. My number 10. Number 10, shout out to my boy Dim. We talked about this movie last week, and rest in peace, Bernie Mac, because it is Mr. 3000. Follows Bernie Mac. I can't remember his name in the movie, but we're just going to call him Bernie Mac because he plays for the Milwaukee Brewers. Retires before getting his 3,000th hit because there was an error. I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched it. But he comes back out of retirement to get to 3,000. I thought it was hilarious as a kid, and there it is right there. 3,000 cuts, 3,000 walks, 3,000 paws. There he is, the man, Bernie Mac. Shout out to the Bernie Mac show as well. Great show, great part of my midnight staying up late as a child.
Uncle Bernie.
Fox, right? Exactly. But Mr. 3000, I mean, how many times are you going to see a movie about the Milwaukee Brewers to begin with? So good for them because they haven't done anything in their lives. But Mr. 3000 comes in at number 10 for me. Jordan, what do you have?
Probably won't be the first time or last time I say this. Haven't seen it, so I've always kind of wanted to because I do like Bernie, and it's one of his few kind of leading roles here. Coming in at my number 10 is Trouble with the Curve. I have in my number 10 the Clint Eastwood movie. One of his rare times Clint Eastwood is actually just in the movie and not behind the screen as well. Usually he directs 9 times out of 10 his own movies. This is something he actually signed on for. Just a really good cast at play here. Amy Adams, Justin Timberlake. Kind of a simple story here. It's why it's my number 10 here, but I think it is handled pretty well here. And always good to see Clint Eastwood kind of in just a I don't know, maybe like action or, this is just a guy that's kind of losing his sight and this kind of his last time he's able to scout. What do you got at number 9?
Well, I will let you know that I have not seen Trouble with the Curve, so that will not be on my list. But, Jordan, have you ever seen South Park?
Wait, do you see? I even asked yesterday if this counts. All right, I think you're about to have something I didn't have.
It definitely counts because at number 9 we have basketball. It definitely counts. I will fight you on it forever. The creators of South Park made it. They are great people. Speaking of the creators of South Park, I will be going to the Book of Mormon this summer. I'm pretty pumped about that. But they are just funny dudes, and this movie is hilarious. And I've never played basketball myself, but I would love to try it out. But I consider it definitely a baseball movie. It's like, look at that. Those are baseball uniforms. That is a baseball stadium-ish in a studio. Maybe it's where they film the MLB Network now, but I consider this definitely an MLB movie, and it has two great, funny, all-time actors/writers, because South Park has been going strong for like 25, 26 years. So, hell yeah to that. But Jordan, please don't hate me for that one. But what's your number 9?
No hate at all. In your defense, I did see it on other lists. That's why I had to like clarify. I asked the two people I was in a chat with, and they were like, "Well, no, it's a different sport." So the only reason I don't have it is because I wasn't sure like the technicalities. But yeah, it's a fun one, man.
And we just got an R rating for that last clip.
You should. I actually have a little bit of a cheat myself here in a way, because my number 9 is Off the Black, which is also a movie that really baseball is not totally the center of this. Nick Nolte is an umpire though, and he kind of takes his kid under his wing here, and it's really just more of a character study here, kind of redemption and everything. And I just thought probably the best thing Nick Nolte has done in the last like 20 years here. I thought it was a really supremely well-made film here. Interesting setup here. He has the kid kind of pose as like someone he knows, or to pay it back a debt. And yeah, just a really well character study here that reminds people why Nick Nolte was a star, back in late 80s, early 90s. So that is my number 9 as we get to number 8.
Number 8 for me is, but speaking of umpires, I actually wanted to be an umpire when I was younger. Considered going to umpire school, just never happened because I'm lazy. But there's something that I did when I was younger that would have led to that. And that's why I really like this movie, because it was right in the prime of my Little League career. We're looking at Hardball. I believe this might have came out around 2001-ish, 2000, which would have been right prime time when I was playing Little League. That's why this movie stood out a lot to me. It's about some kids, they just want to play some baseball. What more can you ask for? Don't remember much about it because I probably also haven't seen it in 20 years, but I remember really enjoying it as a kid. I think I might have the DVD, but I haven't watched it in forever. But play that trailer. Yeah, look at this. Even like, remember FUBU? Great times. Kevin Nash used to always wear those on Nitro. Shout out to FUBU. But yeah, this is just a great movie about, what it's kind of like growing up and, maybe not having all the best equipment to play baseball, but you put it together to do what you got, and you create a team and just have a blast with your friends and play baseball. That's why it's called Hardball, kids. Jordan, you're number 8.
That's a good feel. Like it might come up later. Okay, sorry. I was looking something up here.
Yeah.
Got from number 8 is Everybody Wants Some from Richard Linklater here, the guy who brought us Dazed and Confused. So he really knows how to kind of just make a good coming of age film. Again, I feel like baseball's in the background here, but you are in the center of all these players here. You even find out some backstories of like Wyatt Russell's character, why he gets kicked out at one point here, and it's funny, it's a little endearing, it's a nice little kind of just blast in the past, time capsule of spending about however long it is, a week, a month with these guys here. Richard Linklater, I think, has a really good kind of lock on coming of age stories, and this is a really good one as well. Everybody Wants Some. I wanted some at number 8. What do you have at your 7?
Well, with my number 7, we're going to follow the theme of kids playing baseball as we're moving to the Sandlot. Classic kids with baseball movie. Game has some great lines, some great characters. Just one of those all-time classic movies that pretty much, if you ask anyone to name a baseball movie, I'm sure this would be in their top 5, especially if they grew up in the 80s, 90s. Whenever this came out, I can't remember. I seen it when I was much older or younger-ish. But, one of those great movies. It's still, they still make merch. That kid is, I think, still popular, and he's probably the most quoted, probably the most memorable character in the thing, the curly-head ginger kid. But I don't know why we're looking at Angels in the Outfield, but coming soon to Walt Disney Home Video from Caravan Pictures. It's that guy. But we are going to move on.
I did that in the wrong, because guess why? That's my number 7.
Well, spoiler alert, Jordan's number 7. Go ahead.
That's the first time that's happened in 24 episodes. I did that in the same tab. I meant to do that in a different tab, but that's why I was bringing it up. You mentioned it before as a honorable mention. What can I say? I'm a big JGL fan. This is one of his first appearances. Joseph Gordon-Levitt here. Donnie Glover, getting too old for this shit. Like I said, maybe a nostalgia pick here for me. It's not something I've seen too recently here, but when I did see it as a kid, I was enthralled by it here. I think The Sixth Man with Marlon Wayans. I think I just love Ghost coming back to help people movies. It really was a big niche for me as a kid here. So yeah, we've got Angels in the Outfield at my number 7. See, look at that. And the drink. Come on, what more do you want as a kid?
You love nothing better than an ice cold drink at a baseball game.
And like growing up too, kind of some Christopher Lloyd always works well too.
Of course.
With number 6.
Moving on from my number 6, we are gonna. Are you a big fan of the Cleveland now Guardians? But we won't say their racist name. Maybe, because we are going to be hitting. We just got called up to the major leagues, Jordan. It's Major League 1, not 2, 1. Follows our boy Charlie Sheen as I believe, a closer for the Cleveland name redacted. Sorry, or was that John Moxley, or is that the wrong guy walking into Wild Thing? Either way, great movie. Another one I haven't seen since the 90s, but one of those movies that if it was on, especially they would play it here after baseball games sometimes on CBC in Canada. One of those great movies that probably does withstand the test of time for being a comedic baseball movie. The second one, not so much, but the first one, classic, and that's why it's number 6 on my list.
This is another one I have not seen here. So yeah, no major leagues on my list here. I think I did use a clip of him though in the sports trivia, didn't I?
I believe so.
What I did see though is another one of her honorable mentions coming up. Fever Pitch, baby. Like you said, one of my favorite background stories is the fact that they did have to change the legit written ending of this movie because on paper, of course they're going to lose. They've lost every year until this movie was made. So it's really Jimmy Fallon fans of that team people should praise for it. But I don't know. I just thought it's a fun little rom-com here. I think you have 2 very likable people here. Drew Barrymore, I think, is one of the best rom-com people just because, I don't know. I know I fell in love with her in Wedding Singer and this and Every Time You're Supposed to. Jimmy Fallon, this might be the best Jimmy Fallon movie. I mean, if you don't count Almost Famous, that he's more of a co-star. I think it's the best Jimmy Fallon led performance.
Have you not seen Taxi with Queen Latifah? No.
Once again, this is easily the best Jimmy Fallon movie. Proving my point. So, but yeah, I mean, it's not the most perfect movie here, but it's a very easy watch, and with just 2 people you want to see kind of fall for each other here, and I like the kind of background too of someone loving someone so much that they're okay with their obsessiveness. Now if only someone could be okay with me being obsessed with wrestling and movies. Where's my Drew Barrymore? It actually might be Drew Barrymore. She's still single as far as I know.
Hey, and if someone proposed to me with World Series tickets, I don't even care. I would say yes.
There you go. We are now in the top echelon here. Well, the top half.
Top 5.
Number 5.
Well, to start our top 5, Jordan, I have a question for you.
I have an answer.
Did you know that Veer is coming?
When? Finally? Is he in this? Oh, I know what you're getting at.
About 10 years ago, he came to the tryout for the Pittsburgh Pirates because our good friend Rinku Singh, now known as Veer Mahan, WWE superstar, back in the day, he tried out as our aforementioned cricket. He was a cricket player, him and his friend, and John Hamm, who plays that one guy. They were part of the Pirates.
John Draper?
John Hamm?
Yeah, I was saying Draper. I thought you were saying the Madman.
Oh, no. He's the Madman guy, isn't he? I don't know. But we're going to talk about it because he goes to India. He shows up there. They blare their horns a lot while he's in his hotel and he can't sleep because they're just going honk and honk, honk, honk all day. But you know what? He finds a couple kids, gets them to try out for pitching because, these guys have good arms. Clearly, he only scores 43, but they get it up there. They get signed by the Pittsburgh Pirates after winning the contest. They never make it past high A ball in the minor leagues, but then one of them becomes Veer Mahan. So who really lost here? Because I just related this to wrestling. You're number 5, Jordan.
Never seen it, but now I'm interested. Is Veer cameo at all?
The actual guys, like it might do like a Titanic thing. I can't remember. It's been a while where they like actually talk to the guys, but yeah, one of them is Veer.
Where's the sequel called $1 Million Clothesline?
Coming soon.
Well, again, I feel like I'm piggybacking off of you a lot here. I got Hardball at my number 5. We talked about it before with the Keanu Reeves stir. Yeah, this is just where, nice little, guy helping out these kids here. There's some real heartful moments, not to spoil it, later on in the movie that really kind of get you here. And again, kind of like I was mentioning before with certain actors, I really like this Keanu Reeves performance here. He kind of seems to sway a lot into action thriller, and this is just a more homegrown. He's just the dude who's put in the situation that he doesn't necessarily want to be in at first, but then really puts his whole heart into it here. And I think it shows here. Really nice performance too by Diane Keaton. Wait, Keaton? Yeah. Least? No, definitely Keaton. I don't know. Diane Lane. Hey, third Diane. I was right the third time. Diane Lane. There we go. And yeah, just all the kids here, including isn't it a young Michael B. Jordan popping up as well?
Maybe.
Sure, just agree.
I don't know actors very well. if you're wrong, you're really racist, Jordan.
Whoa, number 4.
All right, so number 4. It's a movie I saw much later after it came out because I bought it at Blockbuster because this was probably not the type of baseball movie I was allowed to watch as a kid. But it's
pause. Michael B. Jordan. It's Michael B. Jordan. I just want to put on the record. It is
all
indeed
right,
Michael B. Jordan. Number 4.
We're not getting shut down. But yeah, movie I probably wasn't allowed to watch as a baseball movie as a kid. But as an adult, I found it out and I thought it was amazing. And that would be Bull Durham. Yeah, so I have Bull Durham coming in at number 4. Great, hilarious movie, especially when you know the ins and outs of baseball, and you see the fact that you get called up, you get called down, you go here, you go there. The Durham Bulls are still a minor league team in Durham, North Carolina. So, it's just one of those classic movies of just dudes being dudes, I guess, like we see here. And thankfully, locker rooms are not like this anymore, or else I would not be a part of them. But Jordan, you're number 4.
This is another one I have not seen. I didn't even necessarily know it was a comedy, so it's actually a really funny comedy.
A little bit, yeah. It's kind of like a little serious, mostly comedy.
All right, so yeah, I have to bump it up on my list. As you know from playing trivia, 1 of 5 Kevin Costner baseball movies.
That's the only one
I have none of those on here. But my number 4 again, just following your lead, Chris. Following your lead is the Sandlot that you mentioned before here. I even was very late to the party here. This is actually not a nostalgia pick like Angels in the Airways for me. This is a relatively more recent pick here. But it's fun, man. It even holds up later on. It just really brings you back to your childhood, being afraid of the dog next door, James Earl Jones's cameo.
I'm still afraid of the dog next door.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why cats are better. Again, that baseball. Dennis Leary. Dennis Leary was in like a lot of things in the 90s. Every once in a while, I'll go back to a 90s movie, and Dennis Leary's probably in it. Yeah, and so like I said, even holds up now. I can see why. I could definitely see why this would be even higher for some that has it as a nostalgia pick here. And like you said, that one kid probably known for this. You know what I mean? Like
right?
And still because he still looks like it too. All these other kids have grown up. One of them I think is even like bald, and one of them's jacked. Like you can't tell, but the one kid still looks like him. So the Killing Me Schmalls guy.
Who would win in a fight? The Goonies kids or these kids?
I feel like these kids are more scrappy. These kids, right?
Yeah, see? Yeah. It's just like, big like a big grouping of children from this time period. If they put them to battle, see what happens.
I mean, because I think Goonies is who you want for finding buried treasure. The Sandlot is who you want in like a scrap.
That is very true. Plus, they have baseball bats. But Jordan,
True.
My number 3. Speaking of baseball bats and building things, because if you build it, they will come. It's the Field of Dreams. Classic movie. They built a fucking field just to do it. They wanted baseball, and they did it. And guess what, Jordan? I know you don't keep up with baseball, but in the last few years, they play a Field of Dreams game with the corn outfield, in the middle of Iowa, and it is a fantastic game to watch every year just because of its uniqueness. And it's just look at them. They're on the fucking they're mowing the corn or whatever the hell they do with corn. I don't fucking know. I don't farm. But look at that. What a great field. I wish I could do that in my own backyard. But yes, still to the day they will make a field like this for an MLB game every year. And if you're not a baseball fan, just go to your way. Go watch highlights. Go on YouTube right now. Search MLB Field of Dreams game. Just watch those highlights because it's such a unique experience. just like this movie. Great movie. Number 3, Jordan, you're up.
Again, my Costner blanks on baseball movies is big. It's 5. So yes, I sadly haven't seen this. This is one that I'm sure people are like, why are you on this episode? Because I'm the host. That's why I'm on this episode. Coming in at my number 3 is the number 42, the Jackie Robinson story, with the great late Chadwick Boseman here. At this point, it's a story we might have seen before here, but it's handled, I think, extremely well here in this movie here. Boseman gives a great performance here. I think it's one of the better Harrison Ford performances from the last few years. Even guys that we typically like Alan Tudyk, is one of the major, horrible people in this here that just don't want Jackie Robinson to play with them just simply based on the color of his skin here. And just overcoming adversity and showing that it was in all forms of life, whether it was just going out to eat or being a baseball player, as much as someone like Jack Robinson later on being known as a legend, the trials and tribulations he went through. Really well-made film. 42 is number 3. What do you have at number 2?
Well, keep that. Don't even put down that tab because I had number 2. I have 42. Great story of, one of the first players from the Negro Leagues to come in and show MLB The Show 23, where you can play through the Negro League storyline, but to make his way up, he played for the Brooklyn Dodgers. I believe at one point he played for Montreal. And, he's the only number. 42 is the only number retired across the entire MLB. Nobody's allowed to wear that number anymore. The last was Mariano Rivera, which no matter what Andrew the Dude Hayes says, he is not the Mariano Rivera of baseball trivia. But Jackie Robinson is a trailblazer for getting non-white athletes into the MLB, and this movie was definitely deserved and probably overdue at the point of its release but Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, he did do a great job playing Jackie Robinson. Jordan, you're number 2.
Very nice, very nice. Close one we had there. Don't show me a movie like Up because I'm gonna cry, and we all know what there's no crying in, right?
Soccer.
No, baseball. That's the show we're on. There's no crying in baseball. My number 2.
I've cried a lot of baseball. That's another story for another day.
A League of Their Own coming in at number 2. It's a movie I'll go back to every once in a while here, because I think again the cast is just stacked here. I love Madonna in this. I love me some Rosie O'Donnell here, Lori Petty, and then of course Tom Hanks, who comes in after John Lovitz as the guy kind of tasked with looking over these girls. Again, another coaching performance where he doesn't necessarily want to be there at first, and then is very enamored, like we are in watching this tale here. Again, kind of like 42. It's another tale of just people that weren't really respected in the sport here, who grew to be respected based on their talents and everything here. And I think it even wraps up very nicely here. I love the ending of the flash forward, and I think it's a damn fine film. My number 2 is A League of Their Own. Cass, I got to know, what is the greatest baseball film according to Chris Cass?
Well, Jordan, I will let you know that if I haven't seen A League of Their Own, unfortunately, and if I did, it probably might be my top 10 based on if you haven't this high. I'll have to give that a watch someday. But my number 1 has not come up in your list yet, so I'm hoping to get your number 1 as well, because I consider it the greatest movie of all time and one of the greatest books I've ever read, and led the world of baseball on to Bill James' Sabermetrics. And that is, Jordan, can you get on base? Because you can if you watch Moneyball, the greatest baseball movie of all time. I believe that this strongly led to Jonah Hill getting serious roles in movies, even though he played a little bit of a comedy character. But I believe this was his coming out of being a more serious actor. It followed the, I believe, 2002 Oakland Athletics, who, still to this day do not have the best budget as they're currently, at the time of this recording, the worst team in baseball with I believe, a 6-23 record or a 9-23 record, something like that. But Moneyball, love this movie. It was, this is one of the very few movies that I actually saw in theaters on the release day, bought the Blu-ray on release day because I love this movie so much, because it goes behind the scenes of the analytics of baseball, which for a baseball nerd like myself is just lovely to talk about. And especially when you know baseball and all the players are talking about, and you're like, who's that? But can he get on base? So what? He doesn't hit home runs. Can he get on base? And that's how you win games, is by getting on base. And Chris Pratt plays first base. before you was Star-Lord. There's a bunch of guys in there that are super great. Fortunately, they did not win the World Series that year, or else this movie would probably be even better. But Jordan, what do you have at number one?
So I don't know much about baseball, and I didn't mention this movie. But it's still my number one. It's also my number one. It's Moneyball. I do love this movie as well here. Like I said, again, sometimes even the sport itself is not necessarily the main focus here. It's about the background, the statistics. I think everyone in this is fantastic. Brad Pitt, you mentioned Jonah Hill. I think this definitely is the start of like, oh shit, okay. Like he's great in his field, but he can also really play a different kind of level of character as well. The late great Philip Seymour Hoffman, even Star-Lord popping up. Chris Pratt pops up in this as a aspiring player. Directed by Ben Miller, who also went on to do the wrestling film Foxcatcher with Steve Carell, and a screenplay that held the helps of Steve Zalian, who's a great writer, and Aaron Sorkin, who I think is one of the best writers going today here. Aaron Sorkin hasn't written a bad script yet, and this is a great movie as well here, man. It's one I've been meaning to rewatch because it's been a minute.
Billy Bean, still general manager of the Oakland Athletics.
And probably for a reason. So yeah, I didn't know any of the background of the update of the Oakland Athletics. It wasn't the first question on the trivia though. No. But yeah, I love this movie as well. It's a really tight, well-made film here as well. Grizz, let's hear that top 10 again. I want to hear it again.
Coming from top 10, we got Mr. 3000 coming at number 9. We got Basketball, number 8, Hardball. 7, we get the Sandlot. 6, a Major League. 5, Veer's coming with $1 Million Arm. 4, Bull Durham. 3, Field of Dreams. Number 2, 42. And number 1, my greatest baseball movie of all time, Moneyball. Jordan, yours?
Nice indeed. And my list is brought to you by Letterboxd. Hey, follow me on Letterboxd. Oh, I didn't even do my honorable mentions, by the way. My honorable mentions real quick are Beer League, The Benchwarmers, The Fan, The Phenom, and Rookie of the Year are my honorable mentions. I should have said 27 minutes ago. My top 10, though, is Trouble with the Curve, Off the Black, Everybody Wants Some, Angels in the Outfield, Fever Pitch at number 6, Hardball at number 5, The Sandlot at number 4, 42 at number 3, A League of Their Own at number 2, and number 1 we agree on is Moneyball. So, Chris, what other sports are there? No, any other words about baseball, films, plugs, supporting words?
Baseball is great. There's one guy I want to shout out on. If you ever see his TikToks, you ever see the TikToks of the guy where someone shows him a TV show or a movie and there's a sports game playing on the background and he tries to find the exact game that's from?
No.
If I ever find it again, I'll show you to you. But this guy's like insane. He'll like be like, well, they wore this jersey on this day on this year, so it has to be that one. They only wore this patch, and I'm like, this guy is insane. But I always love seeing baseball in the background of movies as well. Like, you know, they're in a bar in some show or TV movie, and it's like, oh, there's a baseball game on the TV because my eye catches that because that's the shit I'll remember. But, you know, this is awesome. Follow my Twitch, twitch.tv/Castiver. I've also made more Ace show on fucking the Pierce Code. Like, I'm on like 5 of your last 6 videos. What the hell happened? I'm a wrestling trivia guy. But Jordan, thank you for having me here. Do your thing and play us off.
Absolutely. And we should do our own TikTok where you see clips of a wrestling show and you tell us what show it's from.
I could probably do that.
You probably could. Yeah. But yes, very basic plugs because every YouTuber alive says it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, tell a friend, tell an enemy. And then speaking of, if you want to see more of Chris Cass, not only his Twitch, you can also, of course, find him over at the Pierce Wrestling channel. He is your current reigning defending WWE champion, and he also likes to play anime sad. So for everyone here, we love you more than you'll ever know. Good night.